I'm live. All right. I got the Ozark Trail here, and we're gonna unbox it and see what it's like. Photo? No, I don't want a photo. We got some people here already. Fun stuff. Is my camera good? Is it blurry? It looks a little blurry. I get some cheese on there. Okay, it's right there. I'm live on Instagram and I'm recording on my getting footage. Okay, so let's unbox this. This is the Ozark Trail Ridge Pro limited edition. The best bike Walmart has ever sold. The best bike Walmart's ever made. I got it right here. Let me get over on the other side of the box. Yeah, last week I did a video about how entry-level bikes suck. And this isn't, I don't think this is an entry-level bike. I think this is a mid-range bike. I can get it out. Let's see. I'm gonna have to cut some stuff here. Cut some zip ties. All right, it's out of the box. We got the Ozark Trail out of the box. Let's get it in the stand. See what we're working with here. Oh, that's not gonna work there. See, it's packaged just fine. It's packaged just like any other bike. I don't see any difference between the packaging that this comes with and like a Giant. There we go. People are like, oh, you've got good luck reselling that Ozark Trail. And in my video, I'm pretty sure Ozark Trails have a higher resale value than Specialized does. That's what I think. Why? Something went wrong on my chat. Can everyone hear me? Edit. We got 8 people in the live stream, but I can't see the chat. Live streams are so finicky, so. Okay, can everyone hear me? Sweet. I just All right, well. They can hear me. We're good. I got the live stream open. Okay, let me get what's left out of this box and get this box out of the way so I can build this bike up. When you work in a van, you don't get that much space. There's not that much space to do stuff. I've got Oh, this is a size small. So it comes with a shock pump. Walmart is out there giving out free shock pumps. Kind of a dinky shock pump. It'll get the job done. Ooh, Ozark Trail torque wrench. Isn't that fancy? Does Specialized give you an Ozark? Does Specialized give you a torque wrench when you buy an $800 bike, huh? I don't know. Maybe they do. I like this paint job a lot more than I like the other Ozark Trail paint job. I think I might keep this for a while. You know, maybe it'll become a collector's edition. Like, Walmart finally decided to make a super good bike. Okay, this is what I was most curious about, is the rim width. So I'm going to deflate this tire right now, and we're going to see what the rim width is. Is it not nighttime in America? No, it's 9 o'clock. I got up at 6:30, rode my bike 9 miles. Not this bike. And now I'm doing a live stream, and then at 10 o'clock, I've got my first job for the day. So we'll hope, I think I'll get this bike built up by 9:45. Get this tire off here. One of the nice things I like about having a mobile shop is after every job, I have to clean up and put my tools away, because it's really easy to get a messy workshop. If I worked at a regular shop, my work stands would be so messy. But no, every job I have to clean up. Okay. All right. I think this is a pretty decent rim. They say it's welded. It kind of look, I can't tell. Does that look welded to you? Another guy posted pictures that looked welded from his picture. I'm going to put it up. I'm going to set it up tubeless here. I just want to get my caliper out and measure the internal rim width, which it looks to be, it's at least 25. It could be 30 millimeter internal. Let me see here. Let's see. What is the rim width? What's people saying? What do you think of the new the DMR stuff? I don't know that much about the DMR stuff. But yeah, so it's 27 millimeter internal rim width, which is decent. I'm very happy that it's more than 25. If it was just 2 millimeters more, I'd be even happier at 30. I feel like 30 is the best internal rim width, but 27 is decent. And this has got, I was working on a like $5,000 e-bike, and it had the same hubs that this bike has on it. These Shimano entry-level boost hubs. So this is like really a decent bike. You got Shimano branded hubs, Shimano branded rotors, a tubeless compatible 30 millimeter wide rim there. Okay, let's get the rest of it. Comes with a fender. For the front, I don't ever put these fenders on. I think fenders on bikes are really silly looking. I don't understand it. I mean, I do live in a desert. I don't get the fender thing. I don't get it at all. Yeah, Shimano crankset, Shimano brakes. Oh. This is nice. This is a nice bike. FSA stem and handlebars. You don't get nicer than this. Oh, there's people joining on Instagram. So I saw Walmart just released the Fast Flow, the $8.99 full suspension bike they have, and I would not buy. I have no interest in buying or riding that Fast Flow. There's parts I'm going to put on this bike because the Fast Flow weighs like 40 pounds, and every single part on the Fast Flow is a step below parts on this. This is $8.99, $8.98. And the Ozark Trail Fast Flow full suspension is also $8.98. Both. This is the tricky part, which I think they only made a 300 or so of these, because when you see the Ozark Trail Ridge Pro and you see the Ozark Fast Flow, compare the two. Well, one's full suspension. They both have air suspension. They both are aluminum. They both have a decent drivetrain and brakes, and people are like, well, why would I pay for the hardtail over the full suspension for the same price? This hardtail weighs like 32 pounds built out as is. It's got the seat post dropper, but the fork, this fork that it comes on, this is the Raidon 34. Let's get this in. So this fork, the uppers here are aluminum, and it has magnesium lowers. The Ozark Fast Flow, the fork is air fork, but it's a steel uppers, and they paint the steel, they anodize. I don't know how they make the steel look a lot like aluminum. So when you're just looking around at bikes, you can't really tell the difference between this Raidon and the Suntour regular air fork. But this Raidon weighs like 2,000 grams. It's like weight and build quality is on par with like a mid-level Gold RockShox or a Marzocchi fork. So it's a way better fork. Like this fork retails for $489. Retail is always subjective. You can always find things for cheaper than retail, but this fork is like way better than the forks that are on the Ozark Fast Flow and on like even $1,500 bike shop quality air forks like RockShox Silver. Silver means steel usually. It doesn't have aluminum uppers. This has aluminum uppers. So this is a lot higher end of a fork. And Suntours get a lot of crap, but they're really good quality. They make the most forks out of anyone in the world. So there's that. Oh, this dork disc on here is broken already. I think there's some silly law in the books that gigantic brands are scared of breaking, and they just throw these on there to stay in compliance with the law from the 70s. But it'd be nice if we just got rid of these things, because they don't help anything, I don't think. But yeah, a Deore group set, 12-speed. I think this is a it's micro spline. It's not even the HG. So a micro spline 12-speed group set from Walmart. And I tried out the Ozark Trail Ridge, the regular version, and it came with Shimano Q's. It was good. Shimano Q's is decent. I got sneeze. But this is a lot better than that, I think. Oh, so this Deore group set, it has gear indicator on it, which that's not super common. I'm guessing they spec that because it's more entry-level people are going to be riding this, even though this is a mid-level bike. Like the first Ozark Trail Ridge Pro, I bought it. I tried it out. The rims, they said they were welded and they were tubeless compatible, and they weren't. And they also had 36 spokes. So they like weren't, you couldn't switch out the rims either because it had a weird like department store rim on there and spoke standard. So I returned it, and it was a fun bike. It was a decent bike, but it wasn't a bike that I would ride to the top of Ben Lomond above my house. It wasn't a type of bike that I would feel comfortable riding 30 miles going through the backcountry on, but it was a good entry-level bike. I feel like there was nothing wrong with the frame. You can see this frame, it has great welds, it's hydroformed, it's a decent frame. There's people that are like trying to smack talk this Ozark Trail Ridge frame and say the Specialized Chisel is a better frame. And it's like, okay, I understand the Specialized Chisel weighs as less as a carbon frame, but aluminum frames all ride the same. They all feel the same when you're riding them. So I wouldn't, spending $1,000 more to buy the Chisel because the aluminum frame is 300 grams lighter is bonkers to me. Like, aluminum's great, it's fine, but if I was going to spend more, buy a carbon frame because the carbon rides way better. It dampens trail chatter. But I have this, but I bought this Relevate Designs frame pack, and it did not fit. I thought I could get away with getting the small and fitting on my titanium hardtail, but it didn't fit on my titanium hardtail. So I'm going to see if it'll fit on this. Let me first, because my live stream video doesn't have the chat on it, so I got to click into another page and see what people are saying. So this is a size small. Would the fast flow be good to build out or better off paying for the Polygon? So I've built out a few mid-range Polygon bikes. I've never built out the super cheap Polygon full suspension bikes. But for me, you know, my average ride is 1,000 to 2,000 feet of elevation climb in less than 10 miles. So having a heavy bike for me is not something I'm going to be able to deal with. So I wouldn't buy a full suspension. I wouldn't buy a full suspension if it weighed over 35 pounds. I feel like that's the cutoff. Like whatever advantages you're getting from the full suspension, it's way less than the disadvantages of having to pedal uphill a 40-pound bike. I think 30 pounds, 32 pounds is like decent. But yeah, it's all about the weight, in my opinion. I would not want to ride a 30-pound bike. Okay, let's see if this fits. Kinda? Is it fitting? Is it fitting a little bit? It's still scrunchy. I don't know. Well, I bought it, so I gotta use it, right? It's boughten. Yeah, the 19mm internal width rim on that first Ozark Trail Ridge Pro was bonkers. Because this is the exact same tire, and it's got a real big different profile on it. So I'm trying not to waste. I have nice parts sitting in a bin. I'm not changing out the wheels, the fork, the drivetrain, but I'm gonna put my 16-degree bar bend handlebars on this bike versus what's comes stock on it. Is that cheating? I don't think it's cheating. It's just handlebars. It'll make it a little lighter, but it's more I just want to feel more comfortable with what I'm working with. And I've got to put on my Boomer stem raiser. So I'm raising the stem up. I like having a gigantic rise on my bikes. So I'm weird. I know people think I'm like lame putting on a huge stem riser, but it's what I like. So it's what I'm gonna do. I like cruising uphill. I don't understand why I have to have my handlebars and my whole body bent over. I don't like being bent over. I've got my Mac Ride spacer so my kids can ride with me. Don't buy shotguns. Shotguns are lame. You got to get the Mac Ride. You got to have, if you have kids, they're the same price. The shotgun is not as good. Sometimes a product's success depresses me. And the Mac Ride deserves to have all the sales. Shotgun is a silly ripoff of it. That's my opinion on it. Should we see if this is greased? Yeah, there's some grease. It's good enough. I don't know. Some people are like, there's not grease on it. Some people are grease fiends. They want grease all over everything, everywhere. And I'm not a grease fanatic. I just want as much grease as I need. I'm not grease crazy. It's a little bit too high. Let me see the chat. DMR for live. I guess I need to figure out what DMR. I've heard them. I think I've seen their pedals. There's wobble from tubeless. Depends. You're only 30 minutes late. Well, get back to it. Stay in the chat. I don't know. Or it's Saturday. You got things to do. I'm wondering if I should try to chat every week or... Okay, I think... Is the sun shining weird on the... Is that better? another space. There was a guy saying that Ozark Trail is bottom feeders, that they don't sponsor riders. They don't care about the industry or the riders. They're not caring about the riders and people bottom feeders that are just looking for value are sucking off of the real bike brands that offer innovation. And it's like, if you have an innovative product, you can patent it and you get 2 decades of making money off the innovation. There's nothing innovative about a hydroformed aluminum frame. That's all the Ozark Trail company is doing. Everything else here is a different company stuff. If Shimano makes a good entry-level drivetrain, it's way better than the SRAM entry-level SX. Okay, so they spec the Shimano. They're supporting you're supporting the bike industry by buying bike parts. I don't understand. If you're really that concerned with professional riders and their ability to be professional, like most riders have a YouTube channel, they have a Patreon. If you really want to support the professionals, okay, buy the Ozark Trail, save the $1,000, and then go support their YouTube channels and their Patreons. Saying you got to buy a bike shop bike to support the culture and the community, I feel like is a bit silly. And then it's like, I don't know of any other hobby, of any other sport where if you don't buy the most expensive brands, you're told that you're like not a part of the sport. Like if you buy the Ozark Trail, you're not supporting the local bike shop. You're not supporting. And it's like, there's a lot of bike shops that don't have to make money selling bikes. You know, I have an idea for a video I want to rant about. It's like, lots of people love cars. How many people that love cars love the car dealership? And how many mechanics are there at the car dealerships versus just car mechanic shops? And I see a world where you have bike dealers and they have a bike shop, but then you have just as many bike shops, bike mechanics that don't sell bikes because the margins on bikes are awful. It's but you know, fixing bikes, it's a skill people are willing to pay for. So every year it seems like there's more and more bike shops that I'd say they're bike mechanic shops. They're bike repair shops. They're not bike dealerships. And I think there's a big difference between a bike dealership and a bike shop. And bike dealerships don't typically pay that great to their employees. Bike mechanic shops are usually the person doing almost all the work is the owner, just like a little car mechanic shop. And I had an idea. I'm not going to do it because I don't want to. But I think if like Salt Lake, like a bigger area, you could have multiple bike mechanics and it could be their part-time like hobby job, like, and you could have them have booths, and you could make a bike shop that runs like a barber shop, and the bike mechanics have like 30-40% profit of their sales of the repairs. They have to pay a fee to the bike shop to lease a space out to be a bike, just like a hairdresser salon. They lease the booth out. I think there would be a cool spot to like have mechanics have their own clientele and lease out the mechanic space, and then split the profits with the bike shop or the lease owner, because it's like the bike shops should focus on selling and the mechanics should focus on repairing. Yeah, this handlebar is not that heavy. It's pretty light. So 740 millimeter width. FSA Comet handlebar on there. Not the worst. I don't like 35 millimeter handlebars. I kind of hate them. But what time is it? I don't think I'm gonna finish this build in time for my job because I'm gonna need to close up in 15 minutes. Let me see if there's any questions in the chat here. Say, that's a nice bike. You think I'll be fine with a medium size when I order it? I couldn't find a small. I'm 5'5". No, you can always make a smaller bike feel bigger with a longer stem or whatever. You can't make a bigger bike feel smaller. I would not buy a medium bike if you're 5'5". I'm 5'7" and I bought the small because I feel like everyone rides a bike way too big for them. So I kind of buy bikes that they say should be ridden for like a 5'5" person. So I wouldn't ride. I wouldn't ride that. This is how this was. Put my little one-up grips on here. Would 27.5 wheels fit? No, because the bottom the geometry on this, it has a 60 millimeter bottom bracket drop. So the two axle points, it's 60 millimeters below that is the bottom bracket for this Ozark Trail Ridge frame. And to have a 27.5 frame, you don't want it lower than like 35 millimeters. So you would be smacking a ton of rocks on your cranks if you put a 27.5 wheel on it. Okay, I didn't put these in the right order here. You're in Roy. Sweet. I go out to Roy every week or two, fixing bikes. Well, it's hard to guess where I want the ergonomics of the grips and the shifters while I'm just building it. So, don't need this. I'll take this off here. Yeah, can you guys see the bike? Isn't it a pretty decent bike? I think it's worth so with tax it was like $960 shipped to my house. I think it's pretty nice for the price. me get this rim taped up. So I'm making this tubeless. Yeah, it's just like if everyone who wanted to get into biking and would only spend $1,000 went to a bike shop and bought a $900 rock hopper versus this, and I see it all the time. They go out and the experience is not optimal. It's not an optimal experience to get into the sport. If you have $900, everyone thinking big picture in the bike industry should be like, we want them to get on this bike, because if they get on this bike, they're twice as likely to enjoy the sport on a modern air suspension, modern hardtail. And a lot of people think hardtails are trash. I think a lot of the people that are stuck on full suspension, stuck on high-end full suspension bikes, they're stuck on them because even 15 years ago, 12 years ago, the difference between riding on a hardtail and riding on a full suspension was gigantic. But now that the rim widths are bigger, the tires are way bigger, there's more give in a hardtail. The hardtails, and the boost axles, it's a lot more confidence inspiring to ride on a modern hardtail than it was to ride on a hardtail from 15 years ago. So you can start out on a hardtail that's decent like this, that has modern wide rims, modern tubeless tires that run at a lower air pressure, modern boost fork. Like it's a better ride feel than trying out mountain biking on like a 10 to 20 year old rock hopper or 10 to 20 year old stump jumper. Like this bike with the 1x drivetrain, the modern air fork, if you were to choose a brand new Specialized Trance from 2012 that retailed for $5,000, or this bike, I would want to go ride on this bike. All things being equal. So true. It is true. Thanks for watching. Buy this Bike Life shirt. Isn't it a fancy shirt? Yeah, so these live streams, I got to keep my swamp cooler off, so I have to start them in the morning. It's starting to get a little hot. I'll survive with you guys. I'll survive. Should I be looking at my tubeless job more than ranting to the camera? But yeah, so I have 7,000 subscribers. I'd like more. I always want more. I feel like the most important thing to do is try to make videos that people want to watch. It seems like subscriber counts don't really matter anymore for how much views you get. But everyone just goes by, well, how much views, how many subscribers do you have? And it's like, well, what does that matter? Like I have 6,000 hours watched a month regularly. Shouldn't that mean more than the subscriber count? Yeah, it's kind of funny the amount of pushback you get just by covering a decent bike. Like I had some guy in the industry DM'd me, I hope one day you can be a productive part of the cycling community. It's like, what are you talking about? I'm trying to get people to get a decent bike and start getting into the sport. You want people to go buy a piece of junk, coil sprung rock hopper to get into the sport. They're not going to get into the sport. They're going to go out on that. They're going to crash. I want to do a video rant about how it's never been better to be mid. It's never been better to be a mid bike than it is right now, because the mid bikes right now, even with inflation, this is $898. If you went back in time before inflation, 2015, and you went and bought a bike at a bike shop for $898, it wouldn't be half as good as this bike right now. So it's never been better to be a mid-range bicycle, and it's never been worse to be a high-end bicycle. You've never had less value for your money with a high-end bike as you do right now. The high-end bikes are... My first high-end bike was a Mojo SL. It was a Mojo SL with like SLX on it. It was like a $3,000 bike back then. So it would be like a $6,000 bike now. And that Ibis Mojo in 2010 rode like insanely better than an entry level or a mid-range bike from 2010. The gains of going super high end were huge 15 years ago. The gains of going super high end now is like maybe 30 seconds on your ride, but then also a bunch of stress. And then also everyone thinking you're a hoity-toity, rich, egotistical person. So yeah, I am never been better to be mid, never been worse to be high end. That's my take nowadays. Which sucks, because you know I want to buy fancy bikes. I like the fancy bikes, but they're just getting less and less of a actual. There's less and less actual like pros, like pro versus con to going super high end now. It makes less and less sense to buy the most expensive bike you possibly can. It makes like no sense to buy a $10,000 mountain bike. For me, it would be humiliating to ride on that. I'd feel like I was riding like just a status symbol. So it's frustrating because the super high-end bikes used to not just be status symbols. They used to offer a real game-changing experience on the bike. But now that game-changing experience is on like even $1,500 bikes. That's my opinion. Oh no. Let me see what people are saying here. I should be a mechanic for Park Tool. Muck off? No, not muck off. Yeah, Walmart gets a lot of hate, but I don't know. Walmart is a privately owned company, so they get to do things sometimes that don't make financial sense. Rather buy a quality used bike than a Walmart Chinese POS. Where's the quality used bike getting made at? Because I think this frame got made in Taiwan. I don't know if anything here got made in China, to be honest. Anything on this bike. I'll put these Trebel tires on here. Elaine. Oh, I'm getting an alert on my phone. You gotta go to your job. I got work to do. So let me pump this tire up, put it on the bike, and then I'll finish up this bike build later. I am not as fast putting together bikes on camera, am I? Forget that. Let me see the chat, and then I'm gonna head out. Yeah, your Ridge Pro is better than a Marlin. Don't go yet. I got to. I got a job in 15 minutes. I've got a super messy truck here. I got to clean up. But thanks for watching, everybody. So, you chilled with Chillin' with Greg.